Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the Daddy Brigade podcast. I'm Keith the Bearded Tank.
And I'm Zach the Tactical Gnome.
And this week we've got guest number 2 on. This one's probably going to be a little bit more structured, even though we're still winging it. But it's something a little more serious and a little less wordplay than last week.
Last week was like just drunken debauchery and
randomness,
and I think a whole bunch of me saying the F word, which
I took out.
I'm not allowed to drink and record podcasts. We'll just put it that way.
Not as much. I mean, one's fine, but when you start drinking like we were last week,
we killed a whole 24 pack.
Yeah, well, there was 3 of us.
You and me killed at least 18 of that.
Yeah, you're right. I edited out like 3 minutes worth of just you dropping the F-bomb.
Oops.
So.
Other than that, government's still shut down.
Yep.
Woohoo! Still not getting paid. The terrorist attack in Kenya, was it? Kenya? Props to the SAS. The dude from the SAS being ballsy and going in by himself. Hint, hint. Broward County Sheriff Department, take notice.
You said they got tagged at least 50
Oh, yeah, the one picture that I seen, there was at least 50 tags of Broward County Sheriff's Department. And there was also some other dude I was just reading about. He was in some other shooting. I'll have to look up his name because he has a weird name and I don't know how to say it, and I don't want to butcher the dude's name. But he's like some professional, like, shooter dude. Like, I don't know the whole story behind it, but I guess he was
that mall one?
Well, he was at the mall one too. He was involved in the mall one and this one, but he's like some professional shooter guy that I guess. So, But that's kind of really a little bit of BS. I don't think either one of us has done anything cool this week with guns or firearms or knives or gear.
No, I've been working on my remodel for the last few days. So
I've been plotting a lot of stuff. Plotting.
The gears are turning.
Yes, trying to get my paperwork and everything, and finding out you helped me look up some stuff.
Yep.
So trying to get paperwork set up to get my FFL and my SOT. But other than that, might as well go ahead and introduce the guests since you know them better than I do.
Yep. This week with us we've got Robert Cross. He's the founder and big proponent with the Ohio Minutemen Militia. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, give us some background, who you are, where you're from, what you were doing in, like junior year of high school, study hall or something like that.
That's classified.
Oh.
Anything in high school is classified.
Copy redacted, copy
There's
redacted.
too many people alive still that remember.
Uh-oh.
But it's I started OHMM in 2003. I've been involved with militias before that, checking them out, seeing what was around. Ever since, I was a kid, I've read the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, the history, the foundation of our republic. And being into martial arts, starting when I was 13, my instructors were all people of different profiles that worked for the government. They did different things, contracting, things like that. And through the years, I ended up working with them. So when I quit doing that, I started looking into militias around here. And I was very disturbed by a lot of what I was seeing, because most of them had an agenda, religious, racial, whatever. And, it's either they hated one side or the other, and in my efforts, I would try to educate them a little bit about what a republic really is. And if you're going to call yourself a militia, you have to be constitutional about it. You can't be a militia from France mentality or a militia from a eastern country or anything like that. An American militia is a unique concept, the same as our American republic is unique throughout the world. We're not the only free country in the world, but we're the only one who guarantees an individual's freedoms. You hear everybody talk about democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a republic, and there's a big difference between the two. But when I started, seeing these other militias and what these guys thought they knew about the Constitution, or the founding of our country and our republic, I decided, I couldn't do anything about having a militia in my backyard. So I decided, well, our founders left us a blueprint, and that blueprint's very descriptive. And so I decided I can't just, stop us from having a militia in our backyard, but I can make sure we have a right one. And it works for the people.
Yeah.
So that's when I started Ohio Minutemen Militia. Now the concepts of that are founding on the Militia Act of 1792, not the Dick Act like everybody else, which is unconstitutional, but they don't get it because they've been brainwashed and taught and schooled a certain way. My background is unique. My whole family came from Britain. We understand British English. So, hence, I understand the words of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
Wow. So, how long has the Ohio Minutemen Militia been around?
Since 2003.
2003.
Why don't you give us a little bit more in depth on Ohio Minutemen Militia, like what kind of things are done, and stuff like that? I mean,
well, one of the things that makes Ohio Minutemen Militia different from a lot of the other ones is that we understand that the Second Amendment applies, or actually, we shouldn't say Second Amendment, we should say Article of the Fourth, because that's what it actually is, Article of the Fourth. It's a well-regulated militia necessary for the security of a state. Now, the state is capitalized. Why is that? Because it means territory. It means one territory, the state. Doesn't mean you can have a militia in multiple states or anything like that. You can only have Ohio or Michigan or whatever, but you can't run over cross lines, whatever. It's got to be the state. What makes this legitimate is that we follow the rules of the law laid out by our founders. Basically, the Militia Act of 1792 outlines what a militia is and who can be in it, how it's operated, things like that. Yes, there is a little bit of tweaking to it because of modern times. We no longer call our weapons muskets. So, but our founders took care of that when they called it arms. Which means, every terrible implement of a soldier. So, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's a fully automatic weapon or if it's a single-shot musket. It's still arms.
Yay for full autos.
yes.
Therefore, it is our birthright as an American to have. So, one of the things that we do is we have it sectored out into 5 brigades. And in those 5 brigades, we have 2 battalions, and those 2 battalions, each one of them have at least 4 to 5 companies. And the companies span between 2 to 3 counties, sometimes more depending on the brigade. We don't believe in a dictatorship. In the concept is that the most important part of Ohio Minutemen is the company itself. Because at the company level, all documentation, and this is what makes us more legitimate than any other militia, our documentation of training, background checks, what what your qualifications are, any pertinent medical information for training. So if you're diabetic, we know that. So if we see you acting funny, instead of just knocking you over the head and burying you in the backyard, we can give you insulin. We know how to handle it because, sometimes when somebody's a diabetic, they have issues. Some people have heart issues, so we got to be careful about that. We want people to be safe when they're training. And being in modern times, we've had to tweak it a little bit too because not everybody is self-governing as they used to be in the 1700s. We've gotten lazier and dumber, believe it or not.
I fully agree with that.
because most people don't know how to grow their own food. They don't know how to, go out and hunt. They don't know how to do a lot of the things that they need to do to be self-governing. We have taken that concept and added that to the Ohio Minutemen. So it's not just about learning your rules and regulations and protocols and safety when it comes to firearms, security, defense. It also deals with energy, alternative energies, communication, supply, such as growing your own food, storage. There's medical that we also really highlight on. A lot of our certifications are above what you'll find in any civilian training certification. Ours is above that. Now, in our weapons training, everyone must understand and know the rules and the protocols of safety and how to operate their weapon before they're even allowed to carry it.
Yeah, is there like different levels of training that you go through, or is it just a general basic overall outline?
No, there's different levels. We do basic, intermediate, and advanced. Being the reasons why is, are you by any chance a veteran?
No, neither
of us are.
Neither of you are. Have you ever taken a martial art?
Yeah, I was in Taekwondo for a few years. Got to purple belt first degree, so.
I just took typical street fighter.
But, in the martial arts, that, you had your white belt, your purple belt, and so on and so forth. Each one of them taught you a basic founding principle before you moved on to another one. It was a stepping stone.
Right.
You built your stairs step by step to work your way up to the top. Same thing with OHMM. Everybody is trained how to use that weapon, how to shoot that weapon, how to aim, their natural point of aim, how to take care of it, and everything else. And while they're training, they're not allowed to have any loaded weapons, basically, so safety-wise. But so we can also watch them how they carry that weapon and instruct them if they're flagging people with it, or if it falls down or something like that. We can instruct them on how to better. You got to get more aware of that tool.
Right.
It's an extension of your hand. And we don't just all of a sudden when somebody joins put you in a group with a bunch of guys approaching targets firing live rounds. That's a recipe for danger.
Yeah.
People can get shot in the back. People cross line of fire. It can be a mess. We want people to have confidence as they get more and more comfortable with that weapon. So as they do their training, they get better. They build upon the experience that they had in the training before.
Okay.
So when they get to a certain point, then we can do teams. Then they'll do dry runs. They'll have that down until they get it right, and then they'll fire. They'll go through that with live fire. But that's an advanced class.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in CCWs. So the main reason is CCWs are a very dangerous thing because they give people a false sense of ability. You cannot, for the life of me, get any experience to use that weapon in a high-stress situation. No one can do that unless they've had months of training in tactical training. That's it.
Yeah, that
you
and
can't
it's the
take
government
one day
putting
class
a
and
light
then take your gun and use it in a stressful situation. You'll kill people.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I am
or
a very big proponent against Pennsylvania's concealed carry versus Ohio's. At least in Ohio, you have to go to a class. In PA, you just go down to the courthouse and pay your money, and they give you the ID right there. Like no class, no nothing.
Having to go down and pay the thing though is unconstitutional too because
they're
licensing a right.
Yeah, absolutely
right.
But it's just hilarious versus like Ohio versus PA. And some other states, are similar to Ohio where you have to go through a class. In PA, you don't have to go through a class. Like, any Joe Blow can go down and get his concealed carry, and he could either be super proficient in firearms or never have been around guns in his life. There's,
But here's the thing to that. and in the aspect, Pennsylvania has the right idea. And I'm going to tell you why. Because back when our republic was formed, our founders was expecting everybody in their communities to be part of the militia. So their training, their ability to know if they were mentally capable or physically capable of doing handling that weapon was determined while they were serving in the militia. So for somebody to go down there and say, hey, I want to be able to get this weapon, wasn't an issue because everybody was part of the militia. That's what was supposed to happen. Okay?
Yeah.
So, in aspect, constitutional carry means that I don't need to ask permission or nothing. If I want to go out and buy a bazooka or flamethrower, I can. But because of my training in the militia, which I think should be required service for anyone going from the time they get into high school to the time they are 24, should be automatic. You have to serve in the militia. Reasons why is that is something that needs to be taught to everyone, regardless if they continue with it or not. Because they all get the education on what a weapon really is.
Yeah, that's like there are some countries that have like a mandatory 1-year military service for
Israel
18-year-olds.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
What was your thought? What's your thought on like what Israel does, mandatory 2 years for everybody?
I think it's a good idea.
So do I. That's why I personally think it's a great idea.
I know a guy, he's in the patch game, last name's Nye. He's still a reserve IDF, and he lives over
Actually, I met, this week, I met 2 people come through with one young kid. He was probably about 19, 20. He had an IDF jacket on.
Nice.
And then his brother or somebody else, older guy, probably at least in his 30s, about our age, come through, and he says, oh yeah, he says he's IDF too.
Wow.
Because it was funny, because the kid looked at me, because I noticed his jacket, and I says, IDF? And he goes, yeah. And he says, most people don't know what that is. And I was like, okay. And he said, yeah, he's IDF too. And like, we sat there in BS for a couple minutes, and everybody just looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Don't worry about it.
It's strange. It's strange that people don't know what IDF is.
Yeah.
Israeli Defense Force. Because, when I was younger, IDF was very popular. Very popular. Everybody knew what, IDF meant.
Well, I think now the big thing is, I work for the Department of Homeland Security at the airport, and a lot of the people I work with, there's a very wide age range there. So you go from people, we have, guys that are veterans from Desert Storm to guys that are veterans from the current conflict to, your typical whiny crybaby liberals and millennials and everything else. So
right.
The guys that are in the military, yeah, they know, but most of the people I work with, they're in kind of that whiny crybaby liberal and millennial demographic. So, some people live in their little 6-foot world and that's it. Like, they could care less who does what and who's where unless it affects them. They don't care.
Yeah.
It's because their education system sucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one other part of the problem. And that's what a lot of people think. They can attack one portion of the problem, like elect the president in the White House, and they think, okay, all the problems are going to get solved by him.
Yeah,
well,
no.
he has limited power. So no.
Yeah,
no. He can't do certain things. And some people jump on me because I'm critical of the president. Well, if you're an American, you should be critical of your fucking government people. Doesn't matter if it's somebody you voted for or not. You should be critical of them.
Yeah. I mean, because they're the people the country put in charge. And
right.
You got to hold them to high standards to get,
If you're gonna buy a Trumpy bear and go and celebrate and honor and worship the man, then you're destroying the whole concept of a republic.
I think we can all agree,
we don't
though.
Honor the man. We honor the position.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree, though, in agreement that we all hate Dianne Feinstein.
Oh God, yes, and Nancy Pelosi,
yeah, and Nancy
Schumer, and just about every Democrat out there.
Actually, since that kind of was the topic when you first showed up, Keith, what was your thought on Trump's letter to Pelosi about grounding her flight?
I think that was the right thing to do, because what she was doing was unconstitutional. Nothing in the Constitution does it give her the right to represent the United States in any way, shape, or form outside of the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Exactly. I thought it was hilarious.
It's not her job description. So if she goes overseas and she badmouths Trump like she does over here, that would be considered, in my book, treason or sedition.
See, thank you. I said that to somebody the other day at work, and they're like, no, that's not true. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
I just think it's hilarious, though.
An Oxford Dictionary and read it, because an Oxford Dictionary has the correct definitions for the words in our founding documents. Not the Webster's Dictionary like everybody was taught, but the Oxford Dictionary. It's British English.
Webster's, though, they actually put McJobs in there.
Wow. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it was very, very good for him to do that, but the only thing I'm very critical on him in, if he wants to drain the swamp, he has to start putting some of these SOBs in prison.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, let's see
for
here.
Violation of their oath.
This is what...
It doesn't matter if they're Democrat or Republican, they violate their oath, so they should go to jail.
Yep.
This is what I'm interested to see is, after 30 days, there's something written that we were talking about at work yesterday. After 30 days of a government shutdown, any furloughed employee can be let go. It's basically what they call a reduction in workforce. So he can basically go through and go, okay, and start cutting everybody out. What I'm wondering is once we hit that 30 days, if he'll start doing that, and then the ones that he sees that need to go or get arrested, they'll start going after those guys after they're relieved. Technically, then they're not government employees.
Yeah.
I just wonder if there's a bigger plan to it.
He could pay for all of the workers' salaries for the next 4 years. All he has to do is seize the assets of all the senators and the House of Representatives and use that money to pay the employees.
Oh, absolutely. Trust me, I've seen how much I've seen how much the chaplain makes for the Speaker of the House. I'm about choked.
You get like $172,000.
Yeah, that's the thing I said.
Chaplain?
Yeah, the chaplain. $172,000.
And they're still getting it.
Yeah.
They're still getting money.
Just the quote-unquote unessentials.
Their interns and all the little people working around the senators and stuff like that are still getting paid too.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous that if they're going to do a government shutdown, everything should shut down.
Well, remember, it's a partial.
Okay, here's a question for you. Why is it that if they're shut down and nobody's getting paid, why are they still collecting the money?
They shouldn't be, but...
No, they shouldn't.
Which makes zero sense because the Department of Treasury is closed.
Yeah.
The what?
The Department of Treasury is one of the organizations that doesn't have funding right now.
Yeah, but not the Fed or the IRS.
Yeah, true. Well, the IRS that's a whole different story.
Right, because it's not a part of the government.
Nope.
It's owned by Lords of London.
Yeah, I was going to say it's English owned.
Yes, it's English owned, and so is the Fed. And the Fed is also owned by all the big banks that we bailed out, which is kind of funny. They loan us the money, we bailed them out, and then they're charging us interest on the money we loan them to bail them out.
Yeah.
Kind of like GM moving to Mexico.
The whole thing is fraud. Basically, from the very beginning, since in 1847 they changed the Constitution. They've changed the Constitution like 4 times.
Yeah.
Originally, the actual lawful document, the founding documents where they gain their authority, is actually just titled the Constitution. Not the Constitution of the United States, not the United States Constitution, the Constitution.
Right. What are your thoughts on the legitimacy of the one from, I have a pocket copy from Hillsdale College?
If it's the Constitution of the United States, it's not valid.
Okay. I will have to look at it when I get home. It's in my other bag.
I think it's the Constitution of the United States.
It might be, because it's got the Declaration of Independence attached to it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look at the best way to look at the Bill of Rights. If the Bill of Rights has amendments, it's wrong.
Okay. Yeah, because like the quote unquote Second Amendment that we know of today is what Article 4, Section 4.
Article the 4th.
Okay.
So
I mean, the reasons why is articles cannot be changed by Congress.
Right. Only
They can
amendments.
only be amended to.
Yeah.
And the amendments cannot change the basic fundamental protection of the right in which it represents.
Yeah.
So they can amend to it. But the Article the 4th cannot be amended because it can't be legislated, it can't be taxed, it can't be nothing. Because it has a wording at the very end that says, shall not be infringed.
Right.
It's the only one that says that. You hear so many people give their interpretation of the Second Amendment. I'm going to give everybody a little bit of a freaking education. The only people who got the interpretation of the Article of the 4th correct were the people who were alive back then. So if you want to know what it meant and what it still means today, is you read what the founders wrote about their explanation of what a militia is and their right to carry and bear arms. The best one to look at is Trench Cox. He's not a founding father. He was a normal citizen. He was an editor of the Gazette. And he explained what a militia is and the right of the people to carry and bear arms. And it's a very good quote. You ought to look it up.
Yeah, definitely will.
bear arms. I don't know why. Every time I hear bear arms, that's like I think of like huge arms. I don't know. Jokingly. I know I'm just being kind of a smart ass.
But, you know, he made a comment, who is the militia? It's we the people.
Right.
Meaning that it's the people that have to have that ability. Because in the Declaration of Independence, it says when the government no longer works for the will of the people, it can be altered or abolished. And the only way you can do that is if you have a strong militia.
Yeah, and to be strong, you kind of have to have some organization, because, I mean, you get everybody that's willing to pick up and go, but there's no organization and communication between anybody, and it's not going to...
And that's important in anything, because, I mean, look at if you had your job. What if there was nobody there to organize it or do that, you know, to say this is what has to be done first? It's just chaos.
I feel like that's how my job is every day.
Protocols have to be in place. But, you know, it's very... You got to just be amazed by the concept of the Republic came from people. Most of them were under the age of 30.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson was what? Declaration of Independence, 27? 26, 27?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
I mean, he is a very intelligent man.
I think he was 27.
But,
Pete's looking it up real
the
quick.
Constitution has been changed. And it's been under assault ever since it was started. And, you know, Thomas Jefferson, that's the reason why he came back and ran for presidency, is because they were getting it wrong. They were running the country wrong. And that's the only reason he came back and ran for president.
Oh,
Because
wow.
they fucked it all up. George Washington was one of the biggest violators of the Constitution.
So a little
Everybody
bit...
remembers history. It's the Whiskey Rebellion. He used his own federal troops against the people
Whiskey
for not
Rebellion.
paying their tax.
Yep.
So,
So, a little bit
he
back
warned
to the
everybody.
malicious stuff and OHMM.
Okay.
What is OHMM recognized by the state of Ohio?
yes.
And
When I started OHMM, I had to go through an interview with the FBI, Homeland Security. I talked to the Sheriff's Association down in Columbus. I've talked to Mike DeWine. I've talked to freaking Kasich.
Screw that guy.
There's a lot of things I went through. And basically, I wasn't, and it's kind of funny because they thought I was asking permission, and I kind of told them, no, I'm not asking permission. I'm just letting you know. The real one's coming.
yeah,
We're going to have a real militia. We're not a threat to you unless you break the constitutional rules and violate people's rights. Then we're going to defend those rights. But we'll support you wholeheartedly as long as you're constitutional. And that's where is like with OHMM, me and Randy Mack started looking at what was the best education choice there was out there for people to learn, because we wanted all members of OHMM to take a class in the Constitution, the founding thing. And Hillsdale College was the only one that we found that was actually, as close or as spot on to what it actually meant, what it stood for. So, that was where that happened. And we pushed people to take the class and everything else. And recently, we were talking about it for a couple of years. We've talked about making it mandatory. But finally, BG had it put into the book. So this regulations and ranks and everything else, you have to take classes as you go up in rank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Yeah, I started, I did intro and I started 101. I started 101 like 2 or 3 times now. But with work and then coming home to 4 kids, sometimes I fall asleep in the middle of it and I'm like, crap, I got to restart.
Yeah, they can put you to sleep sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it's something that, we should have learned that in school.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
That's what everybody should have learned in school. When I took government class, I used to get in trouble with the teacher because he would say something, mean something, and I'd be like, no, that's not what it means. And he'd get this Webster's dictionary out, and he'd show me definition. I'm like, well, that'd be nice if it was written in American English, but it's British.
Yeah. I've got a copy of Webster's dictionary on my shelf, but it just does nothing but collect dust. Cause
I actually enjoyed government class because my government teacher loved to start debates and throw me in the middle of them.
Oh, geez.
Because I would literally just beat the point home every time to where everybody else would be like, okay, I'm done. I don't even want to argue about it. Like, he's right, whatever, just stop. Because I would just constantly beat the point home. And that's the downside is like I was talking to my nephew who's 13. I think he just turned 14, actually. They're not teaching kids these days about, World War II, World War I, the Revolutionary War, the Constitution. Like, they're, like, brushing across all of it. But, they're talking about, like, who the Beatles were and, Woodstock and this. And it's like, who cares?
Right. Liberalism. Now it's this hostile masculinity now is what they're saying. If a man has pride or if he actually works to support his family, anything that would make what we grew up thinking what a man, or being taught what a man was, now they're saying it's hostile masculinity. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, hostile
Liberalism
masculinity
has caused 90% of the problems in this country.
Yeah, I mean, hostile masculinity is a joke. Toxic masculinity. I mean, the
but
issue.
You are toxic.
There you go.
Well, yeah.
I seen one just a little bit ago. It said, if we're talking about toxic masculinity, the Marines must be radioactive.
Right. I mean, it's
yes, they should be.
Masculinity's not the issue; it's the lack of anymore.
Oh God, yeah, and that's going to be in a podcast later on of like what happened to like I've kind of been thinking about that, like what straight up happened to the man. Like what happened to the blue collar worker, the guy that went out, busted his ass, 40, 50, 60 hours a work week, come home, deadbeat tired, to
you
wife,
ever heard
kid.
of Sal Alinsky?
Who?
Sal Alinsky.
No.
Oh, he's a socialist.
Oh boy.
Sal Alinsky's plan for destruction of the republic. You got to read that. He's got an outline of what it takes to destroy the American republic, and he starts with education. He starts with family structure, eliminating sexual identities, all kinds of things like that. The
divorce rates are rampant, education's going downhill. I mean, all this
morality,
new gender fluid crap.
Morality itself is one of the biggest things that has destroyed a lot of the things we're going, because these kids, what was bad to us is now good to them.
Yeah.
And what it was good to us is bad to them. And who's teaching this crap is the teachers.
Yep.
Hey, my guns identify as wall art.
Yeah.
Mine still identifies as a hammer.
I mean, it all depends on how you look at it. Like, when I get my Glock finally finished, it may be a piece of art.
Yeah. But, I mean, you look at all the things that are going on in this country. This is something, a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they say it's political. This is not politics. This is survival.
Yeah.
Survival of our American culture, our American way of life.
Well, that's people kind of want to say life's more like checkers, and it's really like chess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Life is like a box of chocolates.
No, it's not.
You know how kids today, if somebody calls them googly eyes, they're being bullied.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. What happened to, like, kids just throwing down and whooping somebody's ass?
That would have been the nicest thing somebody called me when I was a kid. But I was taught, sticks and stones break bones. Words will never hurt me.
Yep.
Now words will hurt you, so find a safe space.
Yeah, wear a safety pin on your shirt.
Yes, everybody wins. And then they teach these kids this stuff, and then they take it, it's Russian roulette. Some of them will handle it, some of them won't. Most of them just freaking are just pussies anyway. But when they get out in the real world, then they find out it doesn't work, then they get pissed off. And when they get pissed off, what do? Because they don't know how to socially interact with people, because they don't know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah, they throw a temper tantrum like a 2-year-old.
They grab a gun and they go back to the school in which they were taught this crap, and they start killing people.
Yep.
These school shootings are not adults going into the schools doing this. It's kids who were in the school or just got out of the school that are killing people in that school. So the problem isn't guns. The problem's the school. It's what they're doing in the school.
Yep.
What they're teaching the kids. And when parents work in 24/7, you don't have the influence you did with your kids like you did back then.
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids get a cell phone put in their hand, which is the dumbest thing anybody could ever do, because now they're giving them, every pervert in the world has access to the kids now.
Yeah.
That has a cell phone.
Yeah. My wife stays at home with the kids because I don't want somebody else raising my kids, and we're actually even working. We're going to start homeschooling with the oldest this year, but my wife got overwhelmed a little bit, didn't think she could handle it, so she's still in public school. But
right,
which is sad because I want to send Levi to public school versus private school.
I didn't say private school.
No. That's my dilemma right now, is because my mom and stepdad want to send him to private school, where I want to send him to public school.
Yeah, I mean, there are some ups and downs for private versus homeschool, but I mean, I just don't like the public indoctrination centers, period.
Well, there's pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about life. Life is not perfect. No. And there is no perfect solution to anything. There's good, and there's bad, and there's the better and the best.
Yeah, there's always going to be compromises made, but you got to make sure it's the right compromise.
Now, the thing is, Joey talk about we want to be tolerant. Fuck tolerance.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be okay with pedophiles having the right to marry a freaking 8-year-old.
No.
Actually, I just seen something today about pedophiles being able to adopt children.
A man being able to walk into the bathroom with my daughter.
Yeah, no.
I work with a few of the transgender people, and we have to keep our mouths shut at work. But trust me, the one girl that was a guy, like I'm kind of cool with. But like I'm cool with it. But like they know, just don't try to push that type of shit on me, because like it ain't gonna fly.
No.
There's a lesbian couple now that has a 5-year-old girl who they're getting ready to have a sex change operation for.
What?
Yeah. They've already started the transformation for this 5-year-old girl to a boy.
And what about that 11-year-old drag queen kid?
Is that the one that's having the party?
Now,
I think so.
When I was a kid, any of this stuff would have ever came to light, or somebody would have saw that 11-year-old kid doing that, all those people would have been beaten with sticks, and they would have been all put in jail and rotted.
Oh, yeah.
And they probably would have made fun of the kid so bad and beat the living tar out of him just because, well, that's kind of what happened back then.
Well, back then, the kid would have been considered a victim.
True. Yeah.
Not part of the problem, but a victim, because he is a victim. He's a victim of brainwashing and liberalism that's pushed this country to where it is now. And they've done this with our youth, because if we are weak in our manhood, what threat are we to the rest of the world?
Yeah.
What keeps us from stopping people coming into our country illegally and taking over? Well, there's no men around anymore.
And see, that goes back to why I think it should be mandatory for at least 2 years of military service.
Yeah. But...
You know,
yeah,
it should be don't ask, don't tell. I'm not against somebody who said, hey, I'm gay. I don't care. Just don't force me to accept it.
Yeah, just don't hit on me or you're going to get punched in the face.
My kids. That belief structure is my responsibility as a parent to teach my kids, not the school, not society, not freaking government, me as a parent. His religious beliefs, his structural family beliefs, everything, that is the parent's responsibility and right to do, not society.
Yeah, that brings out a lot of the laziness factor too anymore. They say, oh, well, the schools can teach them that. I don't have to do that. That's not part of my job anymore. And it's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because
it
stuff
is
like that, the most responsibility for teaching the kids, raising the kids, is on the parents, on the family.
Right.
The schools teaches them math, how to read, and how to tie their damn shoes.
They don't even really teach them.
They don't even teach that anymore. But like math,
they got
science.
away with that only because they destroyed the family structure and made women think that it was worthless to be in the home.
Right. They
used to actually have shop classes.
Smart.
Yeah.
The women who go out and they say, well, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom, or they downgrade people for being a stay-at-home mom, are the dumbest women in the world.
Yeah, my wife sees some of that because she is a stay-at-home mom. And
I wish I made enough money that my wife could be a stay-at-home mom.
It's tough. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
Like, I definitely live
that also
paycheck
is
to
another
paycheck.
design. That's another design. The economic downfall and structure of what they've done has caused people to have to work more, to afford more, and to do things. I mean, they're pushing insurance on you like crazy. So I mean, you got to work what?
I mean, I
20
work
hours out of the week just to pay for your insurances, 20 to pay for your, I mean, they're taking 73% of what you make anyways in taxes.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, I work
figured it out.
2 jobs. I work 10 hours a day, give or take. Some days are short, some days are longer. 5 to 6 days a week. Plus, I, have my other job that I do wherever because it's, on the internet, online. So
see, out of my paycheck for 80-hour-a-week paycheck, it's $512 out of that paycheck for benefits, just my health benefits.
Wow.
And then.
And you are a government employee.
Yeah, I'm a government employee. I'm the lowest paid government employee out there, but yeah, it's the breakdown of it's like sickening.
Yeah.
You go
Yeah,
like after
if
you
you think about it, they say Trump's done a great job and they've lowered unemployment and everything else, which, yeah, he's kind of brought industry back into the country, which is a great thing. But if I still have to work 3 jobs or 2 jobs to be able to feed my family and survive in a house, it's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and what do you
my
think
house
is going to
payment
happen to the cost of living when they raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
You're going to be paying $20 for a cheeseburger. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
right.
Like, in my
But
house, my mortgage payment is cheaper than rent
You're
is.
also going to be paying 40 to 50% higher on everything else across the board also.
Yeah.
And that's when you watch civil unrest and theft go through the roof.
Nope.
You don't think?
Nope, because we got too many fucking sheep in this country. They'll keep doing it. If people were that strong in their conviction, they would have rioted against taxes.
That's because there's
They
too
would
many
have stood up
pussyfooted
and
people
say, I'm
anymore.
not paying my taxes because I'm not paying you freaking fucktards to fuck me over anymore. Excuse my language.
That's
But
all right. I can mark
they-
it explicit. No big deal.
No, it's
Yeah, I mean, if they really, really were patriotic and American, they would stand up against every bit of corruption, not just that.
well, that's because everybody wants to
When you
tiptoe
riot-
through the tulips
when
with
it
these
gets ready
assholes.
to fall apart, and then you riot, it's already too late.
Yeah.
Hey, I give credit to at
Because-
least Paris though a little bit. Like, I'm sorry, I thought that was badass.
What?
The riots in Paris. I thought they
Yeah.
did pretty good for what they were.
Right. But if the government really wanted to shut them down, they'd use real bullets.
Yeah,
And it could get to that point. So in actuality, what they're doing, and we don't want to follow French example, believe me. We don't want a French revolution in this country.
No.
We want an American revolution.
Yeah.
But people have to be educated. They have to know where they are, where they're going, and what they should be.
I was kind of laughing. Somebody had put on Facebook, it had the picture of the protesters and everything and the riots over in Paris, and it says, we could do this in America, but then underneath it had a picture of, like, Rudolph, but we can't even agree on a fucking Christmas song.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, this right here is the absolute truth.
Yeah. We're too
Right.
busy on the petty bullshit to look at the real problems.
We've got too much multiculturalism.
Yeah.
We're not one culture, which we should be, because if you think about it, the Constitution says, we the people of these United States to form a more perfect union. What's that more perfect union? The American culture.
Yeah.
We're not unique. We didn't invent anything. We just took bits and parts and pieces from other cultures and beliefs and put it together to where it morally works for our country.
Yeah. I mean, and that's...
Christmas,
Yeah.
it's an American holiday.
Yep, it takes stuff from paganism, it takes stuff from
Yep. But it is
Jewish...
solely American. The way we celebrate is solely American. Not
Yeah.
how it is now, but how it used to be. Halloween, American. Thanksgiving, American. You know, and then you get these multicultural jackasses that come in this country and they try to destroy it. You know, they should be adapting to our American way of life, learning how it is to be an American, and forfeit all allegiance to any culture or country that they had when they came here.
Yeah. I mean,
That's part of their oath.
yeah, I was going to say, don't they have to, like, denounce where they came from and...
Yep, they have to break all allegiance to any culture or country that they were for.
Yeah.
It's in their oath. Now, can you guys tell me why it's illegal for any senator, sitting senator, or House of Representatives to identify to a political party?
Why it's illegal?
Yeah.
Yep.
That I don't know.
I remember reading something.
One because it was Abraham Lincoln said it best: "The house divided upon itself cannot stand." Because in the Constitution, you will find nothing about Republican or Democrat. Now, when in the Constitution they talk about Republican form of government, they're talking about the plural of republics, not the party. You gotta remember, it's British English, not American English. So when they say Republican form of government, they're talking about the republic, the individual rights of the individual, of the people. It's not talking about a party.
Right.
Now, when a person takes an oath into office and he is representing the people in that district, is he representing only those who voted for him, which are Democrats, or is he representing them all?
He should represent all of them.
Yes, his oath says to uphold the Constitution, not change it, but to uphold it. And if
Right.
he was to uphold it and to do it, he would represent all the people in there. And if he's running by a Democrat or a Republican agenda, he's not doing that. That's a violation of his oath.
Yeah.
Girls. Come on, guys.
Go back to the living room. It's open for you. So back a little bit to OHMM a little bit.
OHMM.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, lots of good information.
This is kind of what I
It all
kind of
fits
wanted.
together. It all fits together.
Oh yeah. What are some common misconceptions that you've heard from people when they hear the word militia?
White supremacist.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's kind of the one I always hear.
White supremacists. Basically that's the biggest one. They call us terrorists, kind of things like that. But OHMM has a different a different feeling about it. Like, you can take your unit, put them in full battle gear with weapons, and march them down the road, and you won't get stopped by a cop. Not OHMM.
Right.
The reasons why is because they already know who we are. They know what we stand for. They know we're constitutional and we're lawful, so they can't do anything anyway. We're exercising our right, and we're doing it the right way. Now, with OHMM, when I talk to people about it, I say Ohio Minutemen. I don't say militia. I say Ohio Minutemen. And then when I talk to them about the benefits of what they're going to learn. They're going to learn how to navigate with a map and a compass. They're going to learn how to look at the stars. They're going to camp at night. They're going to be able to do things with their family, and at the same time learn about survival in emergency situations. They're going to learn first aid. They're going to learn how to garden. They're going to learn how to store their food. They're going to learn how to alternative energies. They're going to learn to be self-governing again. And at the same time, we're going to teach them as a community how to work together to defend their families. Now, you look at people, they have no problem taking their kids to a karate class and having them whip around sticks and swords and sharp stuff like that. But when you say militia, they have a fit.
Right.
Shit, not even militia. You say gun and people have a fit.
Yeah.
If people understood what a martial art was, they would probably have the same fit. But it's okay because it's exercise. It's cool looking. Well, we do that in OHMM too, but
martial arts has been dumbed down from the original stuff from way back. It's been diluted and watered down.
Yeah, it's not Book of Five Rings or Art of War anymore. It's,
which actually,
I just want to do this.
I have that on order, by the way, on Amazon.
Yeah, I got them both in paperback, and I have them saved.
Yeah, I actually have that on order from Amazon because ever since he had mentioned it, and I'm big into the Bushido and the Japanese samurai culture. I love that culture. I don't know why. I just always thought the suits armor were badass as a kid.
Yeah.
And then seeing the dudes walk around with the handmade forged swords, like that was always something I thought was awesome.
Yeah, and that's something that I've been raised since 13. I've been raised in Bushido. And the Art of War, because most of my instructors were all Oriental anyway, so I learned the true meaning of the Art of War.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome. Like to me, that is awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something that I didn't believe in being in one place. I like to learn a lot about everything. Like Kaiju Kembo was one of the first martial arts I was in, and that Kaiju Kembo stands for a bunch of different arts. So after I got done with Kaiju Kembo, I went to study the Tang Soo Do, Taekwondo. I studied AKA. I studied a lot of different arts: Aikido, Judo, Jiu-Jitsu, small Jiu-Jitsu. I learned how to do just about all of them: Kendo, sword fighting, samurai. I learned all that stuff. Jeet Kune Do. One of the things I'm a master in is Wing Chun. And I learned that through one of the students of Bruce Lee.
No shit.
Yeah, James DeMille. He had an art called Wing Chun Do. And I'm an instructor in Wing Chun Do. But Wing Chun is the art that I started to swing to because it had more in it. And then Jeet Kune Do, I took a lot with that when I learned, because I knew and was friends with Brandon Lee.
That's cool.
So I learned a lot about Jeet Kune Do through him.
Stevie with the girls. He's trying to drink their water. What's going on?
Hi, Stevie.
Oh, no,
that's Tanya.
that's actually my wife, Tanya.
Oh,
Hi.
Tanya. Oh, hi.
Yeah, Stevie's at home with a massive toothache because she's got to have a root canal, and it's been bugging her real bad, so I gave her some quiet time.
We could do that root canal real easy, dude.
Oh, I know, right?
I'm pretty sure I got a pair of pliers and some, like, high-strength rope.
Cordless drill.
Yeah, cordless drill. I think we could do this.
Oh, yeah, we could do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm sure my mom's got horse tranquilizer over at the farm.
Yeah. Just a whiskey, that'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it, too.
That homemade brandy my dad's got enough of it.
Actually, I think we got a couple jars of moonshine. That'll do it.
That'll knock her out.
Some of it's
Out cold.
legit shit from West Virginia, too.
Yeah. So what's the process like for someone if they were interested in joining OHMM?
Oh, now you're taking
Well,
all my
one of the
questions.
first things I do with just anybody who wants to join with OHMM is I tell them what I did when I looked at militias. We have a 90-day probationary period. With that 90-day probationary period, it gives time for OHMM to check them out to vet the person. And it also gives that person time to vet OHMM. They can decide that if they want to, they can join, they have to take the oath. But during that time, they should be looking at the membership, looking at how serious are these people? Are they actually being safe, following the rules? Is it organized? Is there communication? And then making educated choice on that. And if it's not in their company, they ought to see what they can do to try to help change it and make it what it's supposed to be. Because the company's the foundation of the whole organization. Because that's where all the paperwork is. The paperwork stays local. I don't need everybody's application. I don't need everybody's personal information. That stays within the unit.
Okay.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Security-wise.
Right.
So, so that information doesn't need to go up the chain. It only needs to stay down there with the company. And then that way, they get to know each other. But the company is the most important part because they're the ones who's going to vet that person. They're the ones who's going to be standing next to that person. And when you look at that person, you look at the same thing as what OHMM should be doing is what they should be doing. Would I want these people, or could I trust these people to defend and protect my family?
Right. That's kind of how I pick my circle of friends. Like, it's on epic trust. Like,
Wow, I feel honored now. Thanks.
well, yeah, you should.
But did you know that 78% of all rapes and stuff were done like that from somebody you know or a family member?
I was unaware of the numbers.
They
I knew
can't
it was
blow that
high.
I knew it was high, but I didn't know the percentage.
Yeah. I used to teach a rape class, so I
jeez.
kind of know that percentage number. It could have changed or gone higher with all the perverts that are around nowadays, but
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see, I was telling Keith earlier, did you see the thing they're talking about transgender couples should be allowed to adopt children now?
pedophiles.
Or pedophiles, yeah, pedophiles.
I don't think they should.
No.
Pedophiles. I was like, what the hell is this shit?
Yeah. I think it should. I think, it's ridiculous to allow. I mean, they're hard on people that are man and woman relationships. It's hard for them to adopt a child.
It's
Yeah.
$15,000 to adopt a child.
Or two gay couples can go in and get a child like it's freaking a vending machine.
Right. It's just...
And what are they going to do with that child? They're going to indoctrinate that child.
Yep.
Well, that's what Big Brother
And to
wants.
me, that's child abuse.
Yeah.
Because, no child is thinking about their sexuality at 5 years old.
No.
They're not thinking about it at 8 years old.
No, they want to play with Legos.
Well, nowadays they are.
Yeah.
Because they teach it in school, so they are thinking about it younger.
Yeah,
They're not letting kids be kids anymore.
Yeah, no. I mean, my kids, they don't care, they even know about any of that stuff. I mean, let alone think about it. They just want to play with their toys, play with their horses, color on stuff. I mean, I can't tell you how many crayon drawings and stuff I've had to clean off the walls.
They're works of art.
I know.
Farm life, I'm telling you, country life and farm life is the only safe life for kids nowadays.
It is.
Yeah.
It really
You-
is.
you
And I
ask-
can vouch for that.
Yeah.
You can vouch for that.
Yeah. My oldest, if
Yep.
you ask her what she wants to be when she grows up, she wants to be a farmer and a horse rider.
Levi wants to do farming
There
and
you
become
go.
an astronaut.
Yeah.
Which I don't know where the astronaut thing came from. Just recently, last summer, when they had the blood moon and stuff, me and him sat out and watched all of it, and
Nice.
he was all excited. After that, man, it's been like full bore with like astronaut stuff. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Maybe he can you know restart NASA.
Recover some of their
we can
lost
still
data.
teach our kids to want to strive to be president of the United States, but we should also give them options that there is nothing wrong with being a ditch digger.
No, there's
nothing
not.
wrong with being a mechanic. There is nothing wrong with being somebody that's a blue-collar worker. Nothing at all.
Sad thing is most of those blue collar jobs are hurting so bad now that they're paying good money to people. My brother-in-law is an iron worker, and he makes really good money.
Yeah.
Like the trade industry,
Yeah, my
like
dad
iron
was an iron
workers,
worker.
operator unions, truck drivers, stuff like that, they're hurting because all these kids have always been indoctrinated. Oh, you need to go to college. You need to go to college. These kids get out of school with a piece of paper and 60 grand in debt and can't get a fucking job.
Yeah. I told my son and my daughter both when they were growing up they could be whatever they wanted to be, but there was going to be three things that they were going to do when they got out of high school. They were either going to go to college, they were either going to go into the union, or they were going to go in the military. That was their three options.
Yeah,
That's what they had to strive
that's
for.
actually
I didn't
really
care
good.
Which.
You know,
Yeah. That's my brother went in the military. He didn't go to college or anything, and it's changed his life. I mean, he's polar opposite from what he was a kid. Bad temper because his dad died when he was a year old, and
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much raised him. I mean, because mom
oh well,
had to
no
work.
wonder he's a terrible person.
He's not a terrible person. He's just got a short fuse.
Well, you raised him.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm an asshole. I'll be the first person to say it. I'm an asshole. Ask my
I
wife.
guarantee I'm a bigger asshole.
Hey, can you show me somebody who isn't, and I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, I was gonna say in my group of friends, I don't think I can find one that's not an asshole.
And if you can, he'll give him a
Even
blue
I
helmet.
don't care what group it is. Show me the nicest person in the world. 5 minutes with me in a room, and he'll be a big fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Can I be an asshole? Oh, yeah,
Well,
I know this.
we know you can't, Tanya. What other questions you got?
I know my last question, but that's always
Yeah.
that's going to be my last question for every guest. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could talk for hours.
Oh, I know. We both know that.
Yeah, which is awesome because it's actually kind of nice to have somebody that is willing to do that.
Yeah.
Because our last guest, which was a mutual friend of ours, he's just kind of like a quiet person. So trying to get him to talk was
Yeah.
he had been drinking, so he talks a little
Yeah.
more when he drinks. But
Yeah.
he's normally doesn't say a whole lot.
He likes to flip off the cold in his big excavator.
Yes,
though.
yes, that was actually a very funny picture. I give him
That's
credit.
hilarious.
That's another
You
one
know
of our
what's
friends.
really kind of funny is when I was in school, I was very quiet.
Yeah, I was a ghost. I didn't really hang out with any one particular group.
People
of
laugh at me.
friends or anything,
They ask
but-
if I ever shut up when I'm at home. I'm like, yeah, I never talk when I'm at home. They're like, really? I was like, my wife does all the talking. I never get a chance to talk. I was like, that's why I talk at
But
work
I
so
mean,
much.
after college and everything else, but after I was a contractor and stuff like that, I got real vocal. And that's being around so many Marines. Because when I was a contractor, most of the time I was with the Marines. So I
Marines
was
have
very
that effect
vocal.
on people.
Yeah.
Yes,
when
they
they're not
do.
eating crumbs.
And I love them. I love them. But, you know, I honor anybody who serves their country.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
you know, the people... I have issues with the regular military only because of its constitutionality. The same as I have problems with cops because of the constitutionality of it. But it doesn't mean I hate the people themselves. I hate the organization. The way it's structured is unconstitutional. The way the military is unconstitutional. I understand the way it is now today, but that's only because we have interfered with everybody else's business across the world. We have to have a big military.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we need to
Um,
stop worrying about everybody else and worry about us.
You know, what we did in World War II was a perfect example of how we should fight a war. We went over there, we kicked ass, and we left.
Yeah.
And they did
left
not
it
see
up
that
to
coming.
The people in that country to solve their problems. We left it up to them to reorganize their government. We left it up to them to rebuild their country. We lost enough people over there. We didn't need to lose any more time screwing around with them.
Yeah.
It's like I used to tell the militia in Michigan, if you guys don't get your shit together, and we've got it in Ohio, go up into Michigan to fight the enemy, then Michigan's going to be Ohio again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it used to be Ohio. The same as Indiana was, same as Illinois was, and the same as Wisconsin was. It used to be Ohio.
Wow.
It was all the Ohio territories. If you look at the stars on the flag in the
that's
Ohio
right.
flag, that's what those stars represent.
I remember hearing something about that when I was in school. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, it's you know, there's a saying that I always since I was a little kid, I used to sit there and repeat all the time because this is a perfect example of what everybody needs to do. To personally understand and maintain the American way of life, to honor it by his own exemplary conduct, and to pass it intact to succeeding generations is the responsibility of every true American. And that is what we have lost in this country. Nobody understands it, therefore they can't maintain it.
Yeah.
And that means understanding that everybody, if you're a citizen, there's nothing free in this country. You have to do your duty to protect the freedom. Now, with me, if our soldiers were fighting for our freedom, they'd be attacking Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
They're over there fighting for our security, not our freedom.
Yep.
So, you know, hats off to them because they are risking their life in a political bullshit war they shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
And you can thank a Republican president for that.
Yep.
But, you know, OHMM's biggest objective is to educate the American people in the state of Ohio so they're capable of coming together and defend our republic in our state.
I got a question.
And to get people to where we should be.
I got a question for you to see what your kind of thoughts is on it. So, I'm not going to mention any names, but I have a friend who is former Marine. And if he listens to this, he's going to know I'm talking about him, but I really don't give a shit. Basically, since Trump has got in office, you know, he has done nothing but belittle and badmouth the president and every decision that he has made, except for maybe like the decision with the VA and having Mattis as SecDev. Other than that, like this whole past like 3 weeks, like nothing but bad-mouthing the president. Now, in his defense, he does bad-mouth the other side too, but he has been like really hard on bad-mouthing, you know, everything that's been going on. But yet he claims to be, you know, patriotic and pro-Second Amendment and everything else, and it's like, dude, you're kind of being a fence walker. Like, in my opinion. Am I correct in saying that, or not really?
No, not really. He's being an American, and he's got every right to say whatever the hell he wants. And I'll defend him, and every day I'll defend him to say whatever he wants about the President of the United States, good or bad. It's his opinion. He's got a right to it.
Oh, yeah.
Freedom of speech.
And I'm not knocking him for his freedom of speech. It just seems like if somebody else puts their view out there, if somebody puts their view like against his view,
yeah,
then he's against that type, like that person. Like he's
so he's a hypocrite.
Yes, basically. That's yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so he's a hypocrite.
Yeah, basically he's kind of being hypocrite.
And be a hypocrite. He's just a hypocrite. He doesn't realize he has an opinion, but so does everybody else. Regardless if they agree with him or not, they have a right to say it as much as he does. and belittling somebody else for their opinion, if it is educated, is wrong. If somebody has an uneducated opinion about the way the government's supposed to run, then they're an idiot. They need to learn what they're talking about before they open their mouth.
Well, I think that's 3/4 of the country has an uneducated opinion about the government.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I keep hearing people say the people elected Trump into office, and no, they didn't.
Nope.
Their vote didn't put him in office. The Electoral College did.
Which, that would actually be nice if they... What do you think if they got rid of the Electoral College?
We would be done. This country would be fucked.
Yeah.
I know what I thought.
Because if they can change that, they can change anything, and that's part of the article. It's Article 1, Section. It's Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. of the Constitution, and it's the Electoral College. Now, if they change that article, which they're not lawfully allowed to do, then they've destroyed the election process in which we get a president. And that means that they've corrupted another leg of government, which they've corrupted all 3 legs, but...
Well, yeah.
You know.
The whole thing's jacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's got a right to do that, but he doesn't have a right to bash other people for their opinions. He should be able to, you know, intelligently either change their mind or persuade them to what he's saying is right, or accept the fact that they can disagree with him.
Okay.
So, you know, he shouldn't be so jumpity on everybody else. But I'm not a Trump fan. I believe in our president. I believe he's trying to do a good job, but I don't think he's any more educated about the Constitution or the Republic than anybody else out there.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to run it more like a business than a country, really, but...
Exactly.
Yep.
He's running it like a business. But you do realize that he's a billionaire because he has, every business he has run and operated has put into bankruptcy at least twice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, is he going to do that with the U.S., put us in bankruptcy?
Shit, dude, we're already there. We're already like $30 trillion in debt.
Right.
I thought we were less.
Well, actually more than that, but yeah. Because that's just the one thing. But if you add the whole debt of the United States, we're a lot more than 30 trillion.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And yet we can't figure out where $650 million went.
Right. Well, it probably went to Iran.
Probably.
Because that was a cash load. That was all cash. And to me, that was a crime. To give that money to Iran was a crime committed by Clinton and Obama.
Yeah.
And they should be put in jail for it.
Oh, yeah.
But because people have become so sheepish, and they honor these people who are elected officials like they're kings and queens, they're untouchable now.
Yeah, and they shouldn't be. I mean,
No.
The representatives and stuff were supposed to be farmers and, you know, everyday people that went, did a term,
4 years.
4 years, and go back to what they were doing.
Well, they should. There is no term limits outlined in the Constitution,
Right.
which is something George Washington actually was going to put in there, but he didn't get back from the war quick enough to do it before they wrote it. Do you know which document was okay, I got 2-part question. The Constitution and Bill of Rights, which one was written first?
The Bill of Rights.
Bill of Rights.
Nope.
No?
Constitution was.
Constitution was written first. Bill of Rights was written second. Now, which one was put into law first?
That would have been the Bill of
Bill
Rights
of Rights.
before the actual Constitution.
Exactly. Bill of Rights was signed first. Yep. The reason why they did the Bill of Rights is because the Constitution did not protect all of the inalienable rights of the individuals. So they produced it, and that's the reason why they put them in articles, so they couldn't be changed.
And
So.
Yeah, and yet somehow
but-
they've managed to be
able to screw with everything.
Yeah, they've been screwed with.
Because people gave up their responsibility and their duty as Americans, and once they elected somebody in office, they just let them do what they wanted to do instead of watch them.
Yep.
When do you think that actually started to happen?
Able to do it.
When do you think that actually started to happen, where Americans just kind of gave up?
About the 1800s.
That early?
Wow.
Yeah, they got pretty lazy pretty quick. Like I said, that's the reason why Thomas Jefferson came back, because the government officials, George Washington, those guys were screwing things up, so he came back.
Yeah.
And he started the war. As soon as he came back, he started the war against the Muslims in 1801. Which brings us up to the Quran that these guys have been putting their hands on and swearing themselves into office, which is illegal.
Yeah, didn't I see the Supreme Court ruled that illegal?
Yeah, because you realize that all of our founding fathers were Masons.
Yeah.
They were Christians. And they were British. So, that's hence the reason why it's all written in British English.
Yeah.
But the Quran that he had, if they'd open it up and look at the footnotes, he talks about how incompatible they are with the American way of life, with the American Republic. Therefore, that's the reason why he outlawed Muslims in this country.
Oh, good God. They actually went back and read that. Could you imagine the amount of heads that would literally just
roll?
Oh, God.
Do you realize it's still law?
Yeah. Do you imagine? Holy shit, the amount of people that would freak out about that.
It's still law in this country. It's illegal to bring Muslims or have them even in office. So,
and yet here we are.
It's just...
Yeah, if that is...
What did it... Was it the first Bush said to his wife is that they caught him on mic saying if the American people actually realized what we're doing, we'd all be hung?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was him.
Jeez.
So, I mean, even he knew. I mean, look at one of the best presidents, and I think one of the greatest Democrats in the history of our country was John F. K.
I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah.
President Kennedy was a true American hero. He was a true American. I give a rat's ass how he lived his own private life, but when it came to his job and his duty, he was 100% American.
Yeah.
And I feel that the reason why they killed him off was because of the fact he was going to abolish the Fed.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. What are I was going to go a little tinfoil hat and be like, what are your thoughts on that? Because,
well, it's a fact that he did an executive order to abolish the Fed a day or two before he was executed. They warned him about it, and he said basically he didn't have a bubble put on his car because he said if they're going to kill me, they're going to kill me. So he didn't want to use the bubble because that would show his weakness.
Yeah.
His fear. So he didn't. But as soon as Johnson got onto the plane and they swore him in, the first thing he did was eliminate that executive order.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the grassy knoll? You know, the idea.
Oh, I think there was more than one shooter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, physics
Yeah.
tells you that, bullets only go in that straight line. They don't go around curves and stuff like that. I mean, they may now, but...
This isn't Wanted, Zach.
Sorry, I like that movie. Sorry, I like that movie, damn it.
So. You just can't defy the laws of physics.
I'd like to be able to take a 1911 and turn a bullet around a target. Come on.
Oh, yeah, that'd be wicked fun, but it's just not possible. Unless it's a ricochet. If you bounce it off like a metal plate that's to the side of the target.
Actually, remind me to show you a video later about that.
Okay.
About friggin' Russians.
50 cal?
No, Russians catching bullets.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
They were
Russians are fucking nuts.
Yes, they are.
They are crazy. What they used to do, when I was a contractor, we used to train with some of them fuckers. I'm telling you, these guys are nuts.
They were shooting the side of an APC or whatever their little personnel carrier is with like a Makarov or something, and the guy was trying to catch the bullet. And after about like 3 tries, it ricocheted the right way, and he just reached down and grabbed it like mid-flight and had it up in his hand like this. I was like, what the hell? Like, that, no.
Didn't Josh share that?
Yeah, Josh shared that, yeah. I was just like, what the hell is this all about?
Those guys, they're crazy.
Yeah.
They're not mentally sane.
Yeah.
That's all that vodka they drink.
Oh, and it's heavy stuff, too. I went to Russia when I was 17. I spent some time in Kursk and a little bit of time in Moscow. And we went to a club drinking their potato vodka. I mean, it had to have been 170 to 180 proof.
That's why I still give you the finger, because you got to go clubbing in Russia.
Yeah.
I just want to go to Russia to see the architecture and not get shot.
When you were in Russia, did you actually get the feeling of how much they hated Americans?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, every other step you took, somebody was saying Lupin the Metakanskin, which is stupid American. And I mean, we were kids. But, it was, Some of them were nice, like the ones that were at the camp that we went to in Kursk, but around Moscow and the city, no. We had to...
true Russian does not like the United States.
Yeah, no, and I actually had a pair of shoe salesmen at a flea market that we went to, because I was running around with, there was me, one other guy and a girl, and a male and a female chaperone. And I was running around with the girl at the flea market, and these shoe guys offered me like 40 pairs of shoes for the girl. I'm like,
wow.
No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry. Like, they followed us around, trying, offering more and more. I'm like, no, dude, go away.
You're lucky you didn't get snatched.
Oh yeah, I mean, from that point, when we noticed we noticed he was following us, we met up with the rest of the group, so we were in a bigger numbers. But it was like, so.
I mean, they snatch up people a lot, but that happens in a lot of countries.
Oh, yeah.
And what's really sad is it happens in this country, way too much.
It's even happened
one too many times.
In local here to us in Boardman. There was a guy. They've had multiple times guys following women with
Austintown
children,
Walmart, Boardman Walmart,
Target in Boardman.
Target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hell, they just busted these 2 in Toledo. These 2 pastors that were doing trafficking with kids, sexual trafficking with kids.
Oh, gee.
Pastors in a church.
Yeah. That's when
there's no place safe anymore. I mean, look at the Catholic churches, crying out loud. They send the boys and hide it.
Oh, trust me.
Organized religion and all that
worked down
stuff.
in Pittsburgh, and when they had that whole thing in Pittsburgh going off, that was not fun.
It's ridiculous what they do. It's all over. I mean, you can't go anywhere here in this country and be safe anymore. You can't leave your doors unlocked. You can't keep your car unlocked.
I keep my car unlocked, but I don't ever leave anything worth it stealing in my car, so.
Right. I mean, I do with mine, but hell, nobody around here, everybody knows, don't go on Cross's property, he'll shoot your fucking ass.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is here.
And you kind of have some Overwatch there, too, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of how it is here. My neighbors, we had an incident one 4th of July where our neighbor across the street called the cops on me because we were shooting on my property. There was about 20 of us shooting. 4th of July, we were shooting, setting off fireworks, no big deal. Well, he was drunk, come across onto my property after all of the guys had went back into the field where we were shooting at. So there was only my wife and like 2 other people up here, 2 females. So he come across after we left to yell at them. Then went next door and got in an argument with my little old neighbor lady who's from Germany. And by that time, my wife had called me on my cell phone. We flew back up to the house, all of us. I go over to my neighbor's where he's screaming at her and like he's like, deboed up like he's going to knock her out. So I kind of yell at him and say some stuff to him. And it kind of got into an exchange of words. Well, he basically threatened to come at me. And I was like, dude, you're picking on the wrong group of people. Well, he decided to throw a couple derogatory terms to a couple of my friends. And I'm like, dude, just take your drunk ass back across the road. Because I said, right now you're trespassing on 2 people's property. And I said, you're messing with the wrong group of people. And by the time it was all said and done, he realized that it was wise of him to walk across the street because he noticed that my friends weren't willing to play games. And we come back over the house, the police showed up, the sheriff's department, and the sheriff come over and said, you guys are legal. Like, you aren't doing anything wrong. You're on your property. Even if you were shooting fully automatics, you guys would be licensed. You're not doing anything wrong. She drove over to his house. For 25 minutes, I could hear her screaming at him. And basically, the outcome was she came back over. She told me if he calls the cops on us anymore, he would be arrested for nuisance calls and for trespassing in public in-talks on my property and on his. She stayed here for about a half hour. She had lunch with us, let the kids play in the cruisers and stuff, and just sat and chilled with us because she knew we weren't doing anything wrong. And ever since then, that guy has not said a word to me, not looked in my direction, and actually I think he's having to move because he works for GM.
Yeah. It's nice when you have sheriffs that actually know the law and actually enforce people's rights. But the sheriff's department has become the bitch of the court. They've destroyed the position of sheriffs because in the Constitution, any person can run to be a sheriff because it's an elected position. But now, in Ohio, you have to have, I think it's 15 years, administrative duty experience with law enforcement. In other words, you got to be a cop first before you can, be elected sheriff. That's unconstitutional because the sheriff's responsibility is to protect the people's rights and to protect them from a corrupt justice system or government.
Except we had one of the most corrupt.
That's the reason why they're supposed to be the highest authority in the county, because if the government comes in here and he can say, no, get the hell out. If a judge does something wrong, he can arrest the judge.
Except Mahoning County had probably one of the most corrupt sheriffs ever.
Yeah. So, to have a good sheriff is very important. But there's not too many, police academies do not teach constitutional rule of law.
Why is that?
Because then they wouldn't be good revenuers, and they take their oath to follow the law. Now, the law can be a good one or a bad one. Doesn't matter to them. Their job is just to enforce it. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. Constitutionality doesn't matter. They have to enforce the law, regardless if it's unconstitutional or not.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to pay for all the mayor's, at least in Youngstown, the old mayor's cushy Denali that he had all decked out.
Yeah, now, here's another thing that should really piss people off. Now, they privatized all the prisons in Ohio, all right? And the jails and stuff were all privatized. You know who, the retirement programs, the retirement packages of all the judges and the prosecutors and the law enforcement officials are run through that. So why would a judge, if he can make more money putting people in jail when he retires, why would he want to find anybody innocent?
Yeah.
Huh.
Conflict
Food
of
for
interest.
thought. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Is.
And they know this. The
Yeah.
judges know this. The prosecutors know this. The prosecutor doesn't care if you're innocent. His job is to prove you guilty.
Yeah.
It is.
Regardless if you're innocent or not, his job is to prove you guilty. Well, that's not constitutional because that's not the job of a prosecutor in the Constitution. So, there's a lot of things that have been changed, and the people have just gone along with it because, they just
prosecutors don't like when you walk into their office with the Ohio State rulebook for traffic laws. They really kind of frown upon that, and then they just kind of throw out the case because they know you exactly know what you're talking about, and they're just like, okay, yeah, have a nice day.
Yeah, because they always. I pissed off a judge one time in a courtroom because he said something. I can't remember what the hell it was, but I corrected him, and I quoted the constitutional rule of law. And he looked at me and I says, well, Judge, like you guys always say, ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah.
He threw me out. He threw the case out and he threw me out.
I had a traffic ticket, because I was in the middle of an intersection and I got cited for running a red light, and I was already in the middle of the intersection when the light was green. I was just letting oncoming traffic go through, and it states in the Ohio driver's book,
Yeah, and that is something that.
And they were pissed.
Did you know that the cops cannot quote law to you unless they have a law degree?
He tried to.
They cannot unless they have a law degree.
Huh. Yeah,
They're enforcers.
I just know it was hilarious as hell, because when I walked in there and that prosecutor seen that driving book in my pocket and the other book I had with me, he's just like, yeah, okay, we'll just dismiss it. Have a nice day. He's like, I don't even want to get into this shit right now.
Yeah. Well, we could go on and on.
Yeah, we're at
questions.
I got
one last question.
My one last question, which will be kind of like our outgoing question. What is your favorite firearm out there?
Well, if we're talking about sidearms, it's the Jericho 941.
Okay.
And if you're talking about MBRs, main battle rifle, it would be the M14.
All right. And what's the reason behind the M14?
M14 because it's one badass mamba jamba. It'll reach you far, it'll reach you close. There's nowhere to hide.
That's good enough reason for me.
Yeah.
And AR just don't have the punch after so many yardage. That M14 will reach out a long ways. That's a 308 round.
Yeah.
That will get you a lot further than a 5.56 or a 223. And I like the Jericho 941s, the 9 mil, because if I've got a full frame, metal frame 941 I've had, my service weapon. Now, that weapon right there, if I run out of ammo and I find myself in a hand-to-hand combat situation, I can use it, beat the living shit out of somebody, reload it, and shoot again.
That's
without
why
it blowing up in my hand. Can't do that with a Glock.
No, but you can with a high point. You may be able to throw it at them and knock them out before you actually hit them.
Yes, but that's a one-use weapon.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
that's a burner. That's a tosser.
I think I think we've got all the questions answered and everything that we wanted.
Yep.
Appreciate you coming on to the show.
No problem.
It was definitely enlightening, and I think a lot of our listeners will feel the same.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you guys want to discuss more about that stuff, then I'm more than happy to come on and do it. And
you may be
whatever wealth of the knowledge that I have left in me. So
we'll have to have you on maybe a couple more times sometime.
Yeah, maybe with another guest coming on at the same time, and
this could be good.
A big discussion episode.
Oh God, yes.
So
get me in a debate.
Yeah.
Just don't put us in the same room. I'll be the only one left.
Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. We got Skype. We'll call you again. All right. You have yourself a wonderful evening. We will talk to you later.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. You have a good time.
You too.
Keep your drinking to a minimum.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
we try. All right.
All right, everybody.
Bye-bye. So, yeah, that was a good episode there.
Yeah, I think that was really good.
Yeah, I think this is our longest one to date. Even longer than last week, because we are now officially at an hour and 34 minutes.
No, we had an hour and...
It was an hour and 21 minutes last week.
No, we had an hour and 36-minute episode at one time,
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look.
But I think by the time you cut it down, it was less.
Yeah, it's possible.
The kids are getting rambunctious.
Yep, it's way past their bedtimes.
With that, I think we'll probably wrap it up. Nice.
Yeah. Hi, baby.
With that, I think we'll probably wrap it up.
Yep. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We've got Daddy_. No, I forget. Dang-nabbit.
Oh, God.
Daddy Brigade Podcast. Just search it on Instagram. It'll come up.
Hold on. Let me look. Let me make sure so we can get...
Daddy
It's Daddy _ Brigade _ podcast.
Yep. Then our individual ones at bearded_tank.
And mine is at tactical _ gnome.
We are on Facebook as well. Subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Spreaker, Castbox. Check out our website, the daddybrigadepodcast.wordpress.com. If you're interested, I will be putting links to all of the social medias and stuff in the blog post, along with a link, if you're in Ohio, to the OHMM recruiting page. You can request there, and they can get you rolling through that. If you're not in Ohio, I will add a link to. I think there's maybe there's just an Ohio one, but I'll look. Just look for your state militia. I mean, we can definitely speak for Ohio. I mean, and you heard from Cross there that it's about education. I mean, do your research before you go and join one particular one if you're not in Ohio. If you're in Ohio,
do research.
Definitely
don't
OHMM. But yeah, do your research.
Do your research, because there's a lot of bad groups out there.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of them are white supremacist groups.
Yeah, I mean, but it is what it is. Other than that, I got nothing.
Again, typical companies that we always plug: Black Rifle Coffee,
Dangerous but Good,
SOE Tactical,
ITS Tactical,
Refactor Tactical,
Grunt Style.
Other than that, I think that's all the companies.
Yep.
We got a lot more good stuff coming this year. I'm in the works of trying to get some other people on, hopefully, maybe. Washington County Machine Guns, maybe. Opie and the Smokies will be on, for sure.
Good old Josh.
We got to get Josh on
now
here.
Now that he's out of Facebook jail.
Yes, now that he's out of Facebook jail. Other than that, that's about it for me.
I'm Keith the Bearded Tank.
I'm Zach Tactical No.
Daddy Brigade.
Out. Balls on your forehead.